Good afternoon, Richland College. Somebody want to let Hassan in. Good afternoon, Richland College. Now it's time to say goodbye to all my friends and me.
Deuce.
PHILOSOPHYCLUB. Hey. Yeah, all right, guys. This is it. It's finals week. Everybody's underslept. Everybody's undercooked. Everybody's underfed. Everybody's underwhelmed, except for those here at the Philosophy Club in KDUX Studios. You are listening to KDUX Web Radio, broadcast live from Richland College in Dallas, Texas. We are the voice of Richland College. Views expressed on this show are our own, unless otherwise stated, and do not reflect the opinion of KDUX Web Radio, Richland College, or the DCCCD. All right, guys, this is the season 2 finale. Here we go. I guess we'll get right into it.
Everyone's gonna fight.
Well, we can fight because we're all guys. Because all of us right now are the guys. We just all men right now.
Hey, women can fight too, Mario.
Well, women can fight. Ronda Rousey would beat you up, Mario.
Yeah, it is true women can fight, but right now I noticed the philosophy class only filled with men.
So I guess the topic of this week is just like rebranding to like get more women to join the club.
No.
Well, that's an interesting argument.
For real.
I mean, there's some women here, but you know.
If some people here just undergo a sex change. Oh, there you go. That was a good one. Anyways, guys, let's do introductions. Let's start in the far end there with the co-host.
Who's that dude?
Who's that guy?
Who is that dude?
Looking at the camera.
Where? Oh.
I'm Raul. I'm not cringy.
Ugh.
And
the people have spoken.
Yeah. And I'm the Philosophy Club co-host, vice president.
Call her
and
out.
we had a great
Call her
season.
out.
We had a great year.
I think so. I think
And
so.
Call her out.
Kelly's wrong. I'm just saying.
Ah, yeah.
Let's
So
move on.
we got some feedback. Apparently, a person who shall remain nameless. We'll call her K Fan. No, that's two. Kelly P. Called out Raul and said Raul
No, not me.
was especially cringy
No,
and awkward.
Sorry, what does that even mean? Cringy?
Cringy. Like you.
I don't know what it means.
You watch it and then it just makes you cringe. Like, oh my gosh.
I don't get that vibe from him. He's a
Like,
I don't get
I'm
it.
I
embarrassed
can
for him.
stand up for him for a minute.
Stand up for the boy.
He's a respectable gentleman.
Respectable young man.
Only cringy on the
That's a
weekend.
good.
That was cringy. Yeah, that was pretty cringy.
Yeah.
All right, who's next? Who do we got? J. Cole?
Oh, shit, go in the J. Cole.
J. Cole,
Work
drop a
out,
verse.
yeah.
Drop a feature verse, J. Cole.
My name's Julio. It's AKA J. Cole.
Welcome.
You should rap though.
Oh,
You should rap,
wow.
baby. Like, my name is J. Cole, you know.
AKA I'm the next and upcoming president of the Philosophy.
Yeah,
Club.
Hey.
he's gunning for the
He just
throne.
sent shots at somebody.
Shots at Ashley.
I know, where that?
Look under the table.
Bo Bogdal, how you say his name?
Bo Bergdahl.
He did not deserve 5 liters, by the way, but
Save it for your final.
You know, Big Black
Um,
died from robbing Big.
Wait,
That
what?
sucks.
What was it yesterday?
Let's stay on task.
what's the, what
Did you
Cole?
introduce yourself?
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did. My name is Hassan. I'm from Iraq.
And Iraq. Iraq?
I have very, very serious things
that's for J.
or
Cole.
very secretive things that maybe I should only say here.
Okay.
This doesn't go anywhere, right?
Nah, this is just between us.
If I say in Iraq, okay, cool. Osama and what's his name? Saddam Hussein.
Osama in the highest.
They were good friends.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jeez
I
Louise.
think if Saddam Hussein was still
joking.
alive.
He was just joking.
All right, guys.
I think if Saddam Hussein was still alive, Iraq would be better.
Okay.
Oh, the phones are lighting up. The phones are lighting up.
Why the FBI at the door?
Kelly's calling.
Good afternoon, everybody.
He's dead.
Is that Kelly?
My name's Harris.
Welcome.
Welcome, Harris.
Journalist, occasional college student, more frequent philosopher.
Managing editor, Richland Chronicle.
That's right. Yeah, good to be here.
Keep it going.
Great show you guys have been having.
Thank
you.
This semester.
Appreciate that.
I've been tuning in as often as I can, so
Nice.
had to make sure I was here for the season finale.
Yeah, glad to have you
Thank
here.
you.
I mean, let's be honest. If I wasn't here, guys, it wouldn't be that fun.
I think the last video got the most dislike because you were there.
I dislike it.
That's probably the reason
Why am I
there are
laughing
no
at
girls
myself?
here.
Shut up.
You gotta laugh at yourself sometimes.
Okay, my name is President Barack Obama.
Go!
There
So
It's
you
nice.
finished, then
It's,
he
it
drank.
is, it's nice to be here.
Actually, I'm not a fan of president.
Excuse me, do not interrupt me. Just because my term is over does not mean
Actually,
I
I'm
don't
an
have
anarchist.
security
Show some respect,
waiting on
bro.
standby.
Raul, show
Nice.
some respect.
I am cringe personified.
Ooh.
I am proudly cringy. I don't reject the cringe.
Well,
I am
Drink when he
the
left.
cringe.
so I would say Lev the king and democracy should be dead.
Oh my god.
Wait, what?
That takes us to our next guest.
Wait, what?
Who are you, my friend?
Oh,
Wait, let me see if I can do this. Theoretical physics major. He's the philosophy major.
Double major.
Minor in, what was it? History?
World history.
I almost got it. World history.
He almost got it.
Whoa.
World languages. That's what it is. That is Mario B. Romo.
Romer.
Romer?
Dictator.
Oh,
Mario.
Mary B. Romer.
Maris B.
Depends
Romer.
what language he's feeling today.
Oh, I'm picking in English.
They're hiring in Iraq for a dictator, by the way. Just saying.
Wait, what?
Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna be speaking English.
Me and Iraq, bro. After I listen to the broadcast, I'm all about it, literally. I mean,
no,
I'm not.
because
I'm done. I'm on
he-
the last episode.
He's
but
he's talking about Serial 2.
Yeah.
Serial Season 2
Oh, okay,
podcast.
okay.
It's
No,
crazy.
because
Oh,
we
you
can-
remember that.
Wait, that was Afghanistan, right?
No,
Yeah.
because we can also have a philosophy club in Spanish. All of us speak in Spanish, but I don't know how many people
Yeah.
here speak Spanish.
Middle East.
I do
I
not.
kind of speak, but you know, just
Como
it's
estas?
just on the resume. It's not like official.
Yeah. That was kind of cringeworthy. All right, guys. I'm Professor Manzi. I'm
It
the
was.
faculty sponsor. It's been just a hell of a year. Hell of a season, guys.
Yes, sir.
Today's topic is individuality.
Let's go.
But before that, a few shout-outs real quick.
Come on.
First of all, shout out Rebecca Finney. She left a YouTube comment on one of
Shout
our
out
prior
Rebecca.
episodes. So thanks for supporting and putting yourself out there like that. The actual content of the comment escapes me, but I do recall it being
Damn.
something supportive and generally good-natured. And also, of course, shout out to Kelly
Shout out
for
to Kelly
bringing
for
the
sending
real
shots.
critique. Yeah.
Sending shots.
Just
Hey,
saying,
Ryan.
saying what we're all thinking. Thank you.
She called
Who's the
you
one in
out.
blue? Uche was in blue.
Okay, guys, and also shout out to everybody that came to my public lecture on Thursday over at the Brazos Art Gallery on Foucault's Socrates. It was the last Tuesday, Thursday classes of the semester, and we had I think it was like 22, 23 people there, so not too shabby. You can look for that on LaCroix. Check that out. Get at me if you want to talk about Foucault's Socrates. And yeah, shout out to really to everybody that's made this radio show possible. I mean, and we started last fall, did 8 episodes. This is our 13th, so it's a solid 21 episodes. We're not coming back again for a while, so this
Talking
is
about
yeah, this is gonna be a nice long hiatus. So thank you to the philosophy program, everybody here at K-Duck Studios, Jack Fletcher. Thanks to Student Life for supporting the philosophy club, and thanks to all the officers. Shout out to Lindsay and Ashley, who can't be here today, but yeah, they were pretty pivotal in this club and the success of the show. Big shout out to Professor Manzi, without which none of this is possible.
That's
Yes,
cringy.
sir.
Okay, guys,
You're welcome.
Thank you, Professor.
you're welcome.
Shout out to Mario.
Shout out to Mario.
Shout out to
Talk about
Mario.
cringe,
Socrates.
man.
Mario-
This is the
Mario's
last,
like,
let's go.
episode Mario's gonna be in.
Yeah,
So
oh
big
yeah,
shout
yeah.
out to
Goodbye, Mario.
Mario.
Wait,
That's-
where
I
is
didn't
it? Where are
think
you
that.
going?
All right, thank you.
Mario, keep it up, man.
He's-
Keep it up.
he's-
Basically, I'm transferring to UNT in
UNT.
this fall.
Yeah, great
Shout out to
school. Congrats,
Mario.
my friend.
Double major, right?
Shout out to the
Yeah,
Vape
double
Nation.
major physics and theoretical physics.
Nice.
Wow, dude, that's awesome. And so, yeah, we'll miss you all. Yeah, everybody's leaving. Ashley's leaving. Lindsay's leaving.
Damn.
Jess is
It's a
leaving.
cold world.
I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Shit.
Hassan, you leaving?
Where are we going? Oh, I'm going to GDD.
We're going that.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah, that's right. I forgot, Hassan. Yeah, so we'll miss you as well.
Yeah, I got
Man.
accepted.
Nice, congrats.
Bueno.
Um,
Yeah.
Shout out Brazilian top team, North Dallas.
And
Clay
yeah,
Road.
and also shout out the Chronicle for giving for that cover story back a few months ago. That was fantastic as well. Great exposure.
Actually, getting accepted to GDD is like getting accepted to being dipped, literally.
And guys, also one last thing:
They're not gonna let you go anymore.
the Philosophy
They're gonna
Club.
watch this episode.
The Philosophy
Cancel
Club
their
is still
acceptance.
taking donations. We have a few leftover shirts, which we will give away for free. But also, if you are inclined to
Nobody wants
donate,
those shirts,
you are encouraged to do that as well. In
Yeah,
fact,
and also remember, guys, the philosophy class really sexist. We're sexist. Right now.
Sexist?
Wait,
Who's
speak-
sexist?
Well,
Mario.
Individually, speak for yourself.
he meant sexy. It's a sexy club, guys.
It is
Oh,
a sexy
okay.
club, yeah. I mean, talking
right.
about in.
I don't understand.
We gotta make
Yeah,
it
we were the
sexy,
sexist that we even had the word her at the end of
How about
philosopher.
nerdy sexy, you know?
Philosopher.
Philosopher. That was funny. All right, guys. Let's.
Nice joke. Nice joke.
All right, guys. So let's get into this.
Yeah, I remember, guys. Philosophies of women.
Cringy, man.
Well, just talk to the French and Spanish speaker, and they will tell you philosophies of women.
Okay.
Okay, that signals the requack.
Let's get into business.
Let's get down to business. And I will say this: after this episode, I'll be marching right over to Student Life and donating another $30 that I received from patrons of the Philosophy Club.
Why would you be donating? To who?
To the Philosophy Club, because you support what we do, and you like those cool shirts that we got.
They were nice.
Can I go back to the comment Mario made?
Please do.
So, can you explain your statement, Mario?
Oh, I was gonna say the philosophy.
No. I'm talking about. You said something about.
This is what Kelly's talking about, bro. This is what Kelly's talking about.
Just drop it.
Philosopher.
You talked about something about democracies that I wanted to know more about.
Democracy.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a few moments when we talk about individuality.
He said he'll talk when he feels like it.
When you feel like, okay.
When it's appropriate, when the time is right.
Yeah,
when he deems it okay.
Don't make me waste my energy right now on this.
Then, who wants to start? Let's go.
Well,
Requack.
Throw the dice.
Who wants to do some requacking? Anybody?
Yes, I think I'll begin first.
Yeah, throw it out there, Mario, please.
Yeah, because how can we make a distinction between what is an individual and what is a collectivist?
Yeah, and let me just say this. Mario was quite flustered during the Philosophy Club because he was coming right from his, what was it, calc exam?
Oh, yes, pre-calculus.
Yeah, he was coming right from his pre-calc final, and he was a little out of sorts.
Don't know the philosophy of math, huh, Mario?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it is a philosophy of math.
Brave.
So I bet you Socrates was good at math.
He probably was.
I probably say what he was, because remember, Socrates and Plato used mathematics to prove that there is truth.
He's just Socratesing you. Come on. Thank you.
Wow,
Thank you.
okay. Wait. Good job. Okay, go on with the requack.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm sorry. So Mario, yeah, you brought up the individual versus collectivist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't touch upon that as much, but we could definitely touch upon it today in the show. We also talked about, among other things, the idea of individuality as sort of set within certain constraints. Hey, Anthony, what's up, pal? Welcome. Yeah, grab a chair. It's your boy. He's in the house.
Uncle
It's all the
Jemima.
boys in the house.
All them boys.
Uncle
This is the
Jemima.
men's. The boys edition. We them boys.
We them boys.
We them
Let's
boys.
go. We should have who has a song? We them boys.
I'm just gonna. We're gonna cancel it right now.
Yeah, just cancel this and go.
The radio hour's canceled until further notice.
Just go to a club.
Yeah, so remember, guys, we gotta cancel the whole show because there's no women, and then we look sexist with just all of us being guys over here.
Especially if we
We're making philosophy.
blatantly say
We're
it.
making-
Especially if we continue to talk.
You know what? We should bring Kelly in here.
Yeah,
So she could-
we're making philosophy.
He's so bitter.
We're making philosophy.
Bring her in here.
I was gonna say that we're making philosophy, which is a female gender. A female gender according to French language and Spanish, because it's called la philosophie.
What language are you speaking right now, though?
So in that case, philosophy is a female course, so we making a dishonor to philosophy, not bringing women.
Philosophy
From, like,
is female course.
maybe philosophy is mad. She want
Alright,
to bring
that's a
women.
good
Philosophy's
question.
mad.
That's a good question for Professor Menzi.
Yes.
While you were doing your studies in philosophy,
I've been waiting all
as
semester
an
for a good question.
undergraduate student and graduate student,
Yes.
did you sense that there are way more men than women?
It's hard for me to say. I don't really see in terms of those binary oppositions.
Oh, wow.
Right. Then
So
okay.
I'm sorry. I mean, that's the
Between
best I can
all
do.
79 genders.
I would say, well, look, I mean, it's interesting because, philosophy, I mean, Mario is not mistaken. Traditionally, more males than females tend to gravitate towards it, but that's also because for a long time, there were more males going to college than females.
Right.
But that has changed. I mean, I could say in my particular programs, Loyola Marymount University, shout out for my master's, University of Dallas, PhD in progress, shout out. I would say it's equal. I mean, I could say this as an undergrad. There were my school, Assumption College, shout out Worcester, Massachusetts. There were, I want to say it was 4 girls every 1 guy, but in my class it was 6 girls every 1 guy. So yeah, I mean, it's tough to tell.
I know, that's a lot of fun.
But yet, to Mario's point, I mean, the philosophy majors were mostly men. Yeah. But that's just random. That's anecdotal. Anyway, let's get into individuality. So yeah, This idea of individuality. Take five. Take five. Okay.
Individualism.
On the beat.
Individualism. Individualism. Think about it. That's my new sign off. Is called in question precisely because, and again, similar to last week's topic of tradition and innovation, because your individuality seems to be kind of set within already pre-established circumstances, such that you kind of fit and you make your choices between options that are already pre-established, which is to say, the question of being radically individual, radical freedom, is one of I would say controversy insofar as is it a myth? And so this was playing off of the Learning Connections workshop I gave on Foucault a couple weeks ago in the Learning Center. This notion of power in discourse. So there are certain influential factors, people in power at play, and certain conceptual topographies that abound in various societies, in various times, I suppose, that allow you to see yourself in some ways and simply do not allow you to see yourself in other ways, and it changes over time. So individuality seems to be set within a broader context of, you're not as free as you might think you are, that you're free to choose between a limited or finite number of versions or variations of yourself. And that is the question, I suppose. Is that the case? And if so, why or why not? And I think getting back to Mario's point, we discussed how individuality as a notion is somewhat new. It's somewhat postmodern, that for a very long time you always identified yourself first and foremost, literally first and foremost, as part of a greater collective. So it's something like, I am a Thunderduck. I am a philosophy professor. I am a Texan. I am Italian. I'm an American. And also my name is, Professor Manzi, Jeff, something like that.
Yeah, and I wanted to add another question, because what about introduction? Because we always learn in school that we introduce ourselves. So how do we introduce ourselves mostly? Do we introduce ourselves first, the group that we represent, or do we introduce our individual?
The name first.
Good job on the paper. Yeah, it's, how would you guys say it? So, Uche, you say name first?
Yeah.
Well, how do we
introduce yourself and then things about you?
Interesting.
So you can introduce yourself, maybe introduce your hobbies, introduce organizations that you put yourself into, but it all stems from you. Yeah, smacking.
I'm taking notes here.
Boy, having so much candy.
Where is the candy?
I feel like you most introduce yourselves with how you introduce. You most introduce yourselves with like the way in which way you introduce yourself. Like, if you like shake their hand, or if you like give them a kiss on the hand or whatever, or if you like high five or something like that, like defines. I don't know.
Denotes.
Denotes.
Actions speak
that
louder
denotes
than
what
words.
type of person you are in a
But if it's just in the classroom with it,
to the way you say your name, like I'm Anthony, or I'm Anthony,
Yeah, no, I think there's something to that, so that aspects of who you are as an individual get revealed, sometimes intentionally and sometimes unintentionally.
Yeah, because let me ask one example, because in our culture we tend to introduce ourselves based on our first name, because our first name kind of represents the individual in our Western culture. But let me hold that in a moment, because in our Western culture we always say, like, for example, I would present myself, I'm Mary, which is my person, would be like, oh, that's your person name. But then I would say Romer, that like, oh, that's the group you belong to, which is your family name. But then in Eastern culture it's actually the opposite. You're not supposed to present yourself first. You're supposed to present the group and then yourself, because, like, for example, in Japan, you're not. Let's take, for example, this name. You're not gonna say my name is Tokuyoshi Yamamoto. They'll be like, no. You first present your family, which is, you're supposed to say, my name is Yamamoto Takoshi, which means my family is. You present first your family and then your name.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But the question is, what about in this country? Should we do that? Should that be something weird for us to do, to present first the group and then ourselves? Or should we always present first us and then everything, our group, later?
Yeah, well, I would say, first, you need the first and last name, because especially something else to consider if you want to go by monikers or names is that, people change their last names due to divorces, or they hyphenate them, or marriages and things like that. So, or you're adopted, and so it seems like there are.
How was that funny?
Yeah, how's that funny?
Somebody's adopted
Hey,
it.
Oh, okay.
yeah, there's too many kids in the world, man.
Ryo hates orphans.
We were talking about introductions. We were talking about introductions, and I don't know. It was funny in my head. Like some kid introducing themselves, and then next week they're like, oh man, I changed my name. Like,
Yeah, because I was gonna ask another question because since we believe in since this country believes in individuality, can you change your family name? Can we change our family name if we believe in individuality, or that's something we can't change?
Wait, what?
That's something.
the entire family changing its name.
Yeah, like for example, imagine imagine that your family is called Green because you were born in a place that's green, but you're like, oh, we're born now in a place that's brown, so we are gonna now be the Brown family. So the question is, do individuals can change their family name if they don't belong to that group, or individuals must remain part of the group even though, and that still makes you the individual, you part of the group, or makes you more individual, you leave the group and become part of a different group?
I don't think it's tied to a name.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's more like because the collective is made out of individuals. So especially in this country where there's a strong individualism way of viewing things, is that you gotta look out for your peers, but yourself first. And I think people wouldn't do that, but like I guess you do that because you change your name based on
how does
Look out up
how does
periscope.
introducing yourself right now play with a role in a gang, for example?
Okay.
Because you know
Okay.
then it becomes danger. So
like Lil Bull.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
like let's just say you guys are everyone here is the north side and I'm the south side.
Thunder
And then I come here.
Thunderduck gang.
Yeah, Thunderduck gang and
Quack quack gang.
Here's the thing.
You hear that?
That kind of brings up an interesting point. Like,
Beware of that song.
We have to tell Kelly not to step on that.
Shut up! Just let him talk. Go ahead.
She ruffled some feathers.
I think
Thunderduck.
Hassan brings up a good point because
oh my god.
it's kind of like gang
Go ahead.
culture shows vulnerability in all those individuals. A lot of times, kids who come from broken homes, they join that collective group
They're unstable.
so they can fit in. You know,
Looking for an
Yeah.
identity.
it just being part of a collective helps you fulfill who you think you are.
As an
That's a great
individual.
point.
Yeah, but a lot of them stay stuck in that void because now they're not themselves, but they represent a gang. So now they
Indoctrinated.
they
right?
lose the the values of goals and improving your life, I guess.
Yeah, because your goal is how
The
tough you
group.
are and how
The
many
group.
guns do you have.
So it goes back to the group.
Mm-hmm.
But-
J. Cole, right?
know.
You know what? We should let J. Cole talk about this.
But I mean,
Yeah,
but we're talking
yeah.
about gangs, not
I mean,
like families, I
being-
guess.
Yeah, but the thing is this, guys. In either case, it's like
J. Cole trying to say something, by the way.
Alright, go ahead.
What's up?
I mean,
Knowledge
being
bomb.
eat that mic. Eat that mic.
So, I have no idea if I'm even right, because most of it, I can't even, keep up with what y'all speaking. But being that I've witnessed games and I know cartels and all that stuff, it's not that they just lose goals. Whether they're considered goals or not, some guys in gangs maybe want to be like the biggest drug cartel, or the biggest leader.
Yeah.
They dedicate it to the gang though, or to their craft, I guess.
Yeah, because it goes back
Yeah.
to defining what your goals are. I mean, why do we consider being the biggest cartel a bad goal? Maybe for them it's,
Well, in either
Like-
case, it's an individual identity, and so I
Yeah.
think when people join gangs and stuff like that, their goal is to figure out who they are. Now they see themselves in the context of having a greater purpose. I play a significant role, or I will one day play a significant role in this movement, in this cause, and now I can see myself as having some sort of determined characteristics, determined value granted to me by the gang or by the religion or something along these lines.
Is it, Professor Menzi, do you think we're all collectives at the beginning, then we're...
Yeah, that's a good question. That's
Probably
a real
all
philosophy.
collective.
Well, I would say
Period.
all of us pretty much are collective all the time.
Yeah.
We just switch from collective to collective all the time.
Well, how so? That's interesting.
Simple, because for example, whenever
Simple.
you
Jeez.
because whenever you
Simple.
want
How the sun made.
because whenever you want to do something, you tend to want to do it most times with someone else who shares the
Okay.
same ideas as you. and then you go to another group that
Be
shares
around
also
people
the
with
same
like
idea.
minds.
But you
Be
always
around
doing it in a
like-minded
group, in a group, in a
individuals.
group.
Okay.
Because when will you? Because most of the time, some of us might do stuff individually, but most of the time we do it based on a group decision.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because the question is, where can we also draw the line?
I didn't
Or how
join the
much-
philosophy
Or
club
how
with
much
my
can we be
friends.
individual and
I
how
just
much can
joined
we not
and
be
then I made-
individual?
How much can be individual? Oh, simple.
Yeah, but where can we draw the line? Like, can we be super individual, or absolutely no? Can we be absolutely individual, or there's some point that there's stuff that you cannot be individual?
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. But before we move on to that question, I want to get back to that first thing you said about changing names and changing last names depending on the region. I think that's what a lot of immigrants did when they came to America.
Oh yeah.
They changed their last names to sound
But
more
a lot of
American.
Wait,
them
wait.
A lot of them were forced.
Triggered.
Yeah.
There are immigrants in this country.
Just one. He's sitting directly to your left.
Yeah.
I think.
We're all immigrants. We're all immigrants if you
We are
think
all
about it.
immigrants.
We're all immigrants.
Yeah, but here's another
I'm
problem.
a Native American.
Because we're
I'm
we're
third
talking-
generation.
Because let me say one more question about a name. Because you say we claim that someone's name defines us as being individual, but what if there's two people who share exactly the same first name and last name? How do we define which one is? how
Names
do
are
we
just
define-
titles.
Yeah, how do we define what is
The
individuality? between
behavior
people
of
who
the
have two
person,
names.
not the name.
Oh, simple. Social security number.
Yeah, and Facebook profile.
Man, you know how many Muhammad Ali's I know? I saw him tell him. That's for real, bro.
Oh wait,
Go to a
talking-
mosque and say, "Where's Muhammad?" 40 heads will turn
Yeah, but the
around.
question is, here's the question:
It's the
wouldn't
most
a
common
number
name
wouldn't
ever,
a number
bro.
be offensive, like to define individuals like numbers? Because that's what the Holocaust did. Like some of the Holocaust Nazi did. You know, to identify.
Depends on the
Jews,
intention
It
of
wasn't
it.
they
the
use
numbers that was the
They use
bad
instead
part, my
numbers
friend.
instead of like names. So
Yeah. Well, that's what they do in jail. You're given a number.
Mhm.
If you're a convict, your number, your convict, 8574, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Quoting the.
But the question is, shouldn't like doing the immoral thing basically makes us unindividual because we're giving a number, and then wouldn't like name make us more individuals and we have no number?
well, guys, so here's the thing. Call it what you will. I mean, a name, a number. What about genetics? I mean, what you're composed of.
Yeah.
Physically combined with your
unique.
personality and the goals that you set given the cultural milieu in which you're reared. I think a lot of these, I think this is kind of your point, Mardo, and correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, don't correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like
It's easy.
it seems like
He's always right.
we could be considered just a unique. Each of us individually are a unique collection of all of these different collectives, of all of the different ways in which we fit into more general collective identities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was
So-
trying to say. Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
If
That
you
makes
play,
sense to me.
what if your title or your name, the same thing, or your number? Let's just say your name was Alex, and or actually, let's talk about something that we all know about.
Raul.
Like your name is Osama.
Okay.
So how does your title play a role here when you want to be called Osama, and then we know someone who is named Osama has been the most dangerous criminal ever?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
so you have
Doesn't
connotations.
matter.
I know
Yeah.
some.
Yeah.
I
It
got
doesn't
some-
matter at
I've
all.
had some
I
friends-
have friends who
But
are
see,
named
it
Osama.
does matter to people. That's the thing. I got some
Yeah,
friends
because-
who don't go by
because,
that name because
Yeah.
they don't want to be associated with that.
Yeah,
Mm.
because that
That's
was gonna.
unfortunate because they're not being looked
That's
at as an
prejudice,
individual. Yeah,
though.
it's
Yeah.
a stereotype.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
because
biased.
what if you meet two people at the same time that they're named Alex Rodriguez and they're both are named Alex Rodriguez and they have no middle name? How do we?
It doesn't matter. They're
How do
two.
we
They're
differentiate-
behaviors. It doesn't matter.
How do we differentiate?
If I
both
see a
of them?
green apple and I see a red apple, they're both apples, but I can clearly tell them apart because
So how do we tell them
If
apart?
those
So
Alexes
so
are
that means that
siblings,
we would
though,
tell. So that means that we would tell one Alex different, like you
check
Alex
her
Rodriguez
grandma's
green,
name.
and then you Alex Rodriguez red.
no, I would just say you're Alex and you're Alex, but I know the difference because y'all are identical in every single way. Y'all don't
some
act the same.
uncreative parents
It's-
name their kids the same thing.
Well, I mean, again, and you have juniors
be
and the
so-
third and the fourth.
Their
I would say that-
behavior.
I would say that
I'm-
that's how
I'm
we
the
define
second.
those.
The
people.
name isn't what gives a person character.
A rose
it's
by any
the
other
behavior.
name smells just as sweet.
Because if you put both Alexes in different rooms, they collect something differently that they become individual in their own way. When they
Yeah,
come out.
exactly. And they,
Or
they
they're just
exhibit.
different people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the name doesn't matter.
Okay, guys, we should start the requack before we go any further.
We are on,
I know,
on
that
track.
was a joke.
We're on
That was a
track.
joke.
We're on track.
We're on quack. We're on
Yeah.
quack.
Quack.
And second of all, what if you, because how
Don't
can
talk
we
about
be-
names anymore.
Yeah, no. I was gonna talk about morality because individuality means that to be individual is something that we ought. It's the most moral thing we ought to do, or is it something? It's something that is not
it
the most moral thing.
That's a good question.
So that's the question I'm trying to ask: is individuality the absolute most moral thing, or does individuality have more?
Depends
some
on if you're
effects
living
that
in a
other stuff
community
that
or
are
not.
More moral than individuality.
It depends on the society or the community.
Because you can't, if I'm focused completely on feeding myself, and I have like 2 kids, and I go and hunt and I feed myself and I save the remainders for tomorrow so I don't have to work tomorrow, and I don't feed my kids, in this society that would be deemed immoral.
So that means individuality in this case cannot be the most moral thing.
In most societies, I would
Yeah,
say.
you have to be cooperative.
So that means
But look at
cooperative has to
yourself
be
for
the
the
most
same-
moral
at
thing.
the same
And
time.
then individuality is like not the most moral thing, but the cooperative is more moral than being individual.
Depends on the society.
Wait, so we're going for
we boring you, Hassan?
non-objective?
No.
Because let's agree for a moment, the individuality is the most moral thing. And it's the thing that we have to push because it's so more like, oh,
But, all
being
right,
individual is the most moral thing, and it doesn't matter. There's no exception. It's just the most moral thing. So in
Well, I
that
don't know
case,
about that.
would that case, morality will be subjective. I mean, that begs the question that morality just becomes subjective.
Well, I mean, first of all, you have to consider that, again, once upon a time, traditionally speaking, especially in the West, that if you're an individual, if you individuated yourself or individualized yourself too much, then you're considered something like an outlier.
deviant.
Yeah, or a deviant, exactly. Someone who disrupts the status quo, and yeah, you go against. You're countering the culture, the clan, or whatever the case may be. It triggered, and so that's this idea again. This came up on Monday as well. This idea of individuality, it's relatively new. I just got a text from Kelly saying Raul has something in his teeth.
no, we don't.
Oh, yeah. So,
Why'd you say that?
So in that case, it means like in that case,
Your whole point to say
I just
that.
got it.
Are you kidding me?
so,
Okay, go on. Let's talk.
So the question then, in that case, it seems like individuality is something that we cannot really push for. We get to push for it, but it's not something that we should push for most of the time.
Not the absolute.
Yeah, the absolute, because I mean, there are other stuff that
A give
are
and
more
take.
important than being an individual.
Okay, but then what would those things be? What would be
But then
more
the question
important than
will
being an
be-
individual?
But the question will be like, are those things that they're above individual tend to be collective
Yes.
or not collective at all? That
Yeah,
would be my next question.
Yeah, I think so. Consider Christianity. What would Jesus do implies be like Christ.
Yeah.
Jesus, dude, it's not a meme.
Yeah, it is.
Probably. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's a meme from the culture.
I don't know what a meme is.
Nice.
You are.
Get out of your
Dude.
cave, professor.
Don't talk about memes if you don't make memes.
At any rate, somebody make a meme for the Philosophy Club. Is that something we could do?
No, that's cringy because it's forced.
That's cringy.
Yes.
No, but still, that's my question. Like, both those things would be more collective, that the ones that they're above individuality, or they would not be collective at all.
Well, that's just it, because again, you think of somebody like Plato, for instance. This idea of rising towards more. Hey, there she is.
That's her.
That's her.
Shout her out.
She just
Who's
walked
that?
by.
That's the girl. That's the girl that called out Raul.
Wait, that's her?
Yeah.
Kaylee?
Kelly.
She's
At
fine,
any
bro.
rate, at any rate,
I thought I was the only one. She's fine. I mean, yeah. Let's real quick.
there's gonna be confrontation.
When she comes back, he knock her out.
This is what we need for ratings,
Jesus
guys.
Christ.
Anyways, no. So
she needed it for the face of philosophy.
you want to rise to the point of being more attuned with what is universally truth itself on some level. So in a certain sense, that which individuates you, traditionally speaking, would seem to be that which you need to overcome, so as to rise to a more collective, universal, rational way of going about things. Hey, speaking of somebody left a YouTube comment before. Shout out to Cheryl.
Shout out to Cheryl.
Yeah. At any rate, nowadays, though, it seems different, especially in light of the possibility of there being no afterlife and no such thing as God. When those questions were really put forward in the last 125 years or so, this notion of radical freedom became something much more palatable, something, dare I say, liberating. And so the idea that you can invent yourself, because there are no, and I endeavored to make this point in my presentation on Thursday, parroting Foucault and Nietzsche to some extent, when you come to realize potentially that you are the creator, you're the arbiter of meaning and significance in your world, and that your identity is shaped as you shape it. You are the molder thereof. You are not the receiver. You're not the receptor of some tradition that you just try to internalize to the best of your ability. possibilities seem to be plentiful in terms of who you can become, and also your identity need not be static. All right,
I'm just saying to Mike that I'm not cringy. We're not cringy.
He just left. That was very cringy right there.
So Kelly's on the other side giving Ro the L sign. I guess that's pretty impressive. I guess she's sticking to her guns. Thanks for the feedback, Cal. Oh, look, there's Ashley. She made it.
Ashley,
Hey, one woman.
This girl
One
creeps
woman.
me out. No, what happened?
She heard you.
Did
Dude, you're
y'all,
sexist.
Did y'all like give her the middle finger or something? She's like gone.
No,
Okay.
she got a good look at Raul, and she's like, ugh.
Okay,
Like
let's
that.
talk
Like
on
that,
topic.
like-
Mario.
I guess he's here.
Mario, get it.
Yeah, so
She
Mario, I'm
literally-
sorry.
Pull it
swear
in,
she looked
Mario,
at him,
pull
she's
it
like,
in.
"Ugh,
Ring it in, Mario.
it's white girls, bro."
He leaves.
Mario.
He just got
No,
so
I'm
confused.
telling you, keep talking.
I think she came in the other side.
All right, Mario.
Yeah.
I have a question.
She's over here. Hey, what's up, Ashley?
I want to battle Mario on the discussion right
Yes,
now.
what is your question?
Let's go. So,
Yeah, grab a chair.
Is it possible to be an individual when we're all influenced by something?
I would say that probably
Yes.
not really.
yes.
I say no.
Yes.
I would say no because most of the time we want like someone around us to
Influenced by our parents.
or something around like
Influenced by the
because,
people
for
around us
example-
in our community.
because here's the question about it. When you're born, can you do everything by yourself without like being raised by no one?
Can you what?
Because whenever we're born, can you be born and not be raised by no one and figure out everything by yourself? Like
No.
for example,
You ever
somebody-
see the
Possible
Jungle
feral
Book?
children.
No.
Feral children.
Orphanage.
Yeah, because according
A bear and
to
a
because according to
snake
some
or something?
because
I don't
according to sociology professor, she claimed that whenever you're born, you need your parents, so you need someone to like help you out.
Yeah, like
In life-
Yeah, but that doesn't like say that we're not ourselves. We have to
In
learn
the-
from
in that
But
case-
we mimic our parents.
right,
Yeah,
but we're
mimic.
still
My measles.
ourselves.
How? Like how?
Like
We-
how? Because
We're
We have
molded
our own
by our
thoughts.
parents.
It's us mimicking. Yeah.
It's like
the
the-
individual comes before the collective, because the
I don't
collective
think
is
so.
is a group of individuals, and not.
Okay, so
opposite.
no, I like where you're going with that, Ro. I think you're right. There's a philosopher by the name of Hegel, and when he talks about individualization with regards to the greater collective, society, culture, things like that, he describes it as a negation. You're negating yourself, and what he means by that is that relative to your position, when you consider, again, your culture, your overall, the sensibility of your society, and you separate yourself therefrom via your quirks or personalities, or more intentionally, you're negating that part of society that includes you in a certain sense. But to Mario's point, and I think Uche's point as well, look, how could you not be influenced, especially at a young age?
Christian parents, Christian kids.
Aristotle makes this point. I mean,
Racist
this
parents,
is how you
racist
form your
kids.
character. And so it does seem as though you
Find
are
the truth.
you are influenced, and therefore you have some sort of bedrock default mode that you learn at a young age before you are rationally capable of forging your own identity. But then that becomes, how influential are those initial factors? Because we
Well,
are so
I say
impressionable.
very influential.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I was
that's the
say,
question.
because I was gonna add to it because according to the result the professor pointed out, she pointed out that if you imagine that they actually did, I'm not sure they actually did, but she claimed that they actually did place a child that was negated everything, and the child basically died.
Were they feeding this?
We'll be
kid?
right back.
What in the
Oh,
world?
I'm not sure they were feeding it, but probably they were just leaving food and letting the child figure out how to get
Where
the food.
was this? Give us some background to
Well,
this story.
basically it was like a
Mario
it was
did this
it was
experience
a
himself.
psychology
But
lab.
hold on
They
one
claimed they
second.
was in a psychology lab.
Mario's like third floor of my apartment.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. But also going back to that genetics that we were talking about, don't you inherit traits from your parents?
That's a question.
Like, you
I don't know
can't-
about
you can't deny-
characteristics.
I don't. Yeah, maybe not characteristics.
Well, they're saying that now.
Physical.
They're saying that personality is inherited.
Yeah, but definitely looks. Even just looks. I have my dad's nose, and you can't help but mimic somebody at a young age
Then how is he
When-
smelling?
when they look
Thank you very much.
when they look like
Very
you.
much.
Yeah.
That's just how you are as a child.
Yeah, because I was gonna quote from Buddha. According to Buddhism or Buddha himself,
You
he
called
claimed
Buddha?
that the more you meditate, you're gonna figure out that there's no such thing as the self.
Yeah, that's a very Eastern philosophy.
Yeah, they claim that the self is just a fabrication
It's an
of
illusion.
your body, of collective body experiences, and your own chemistry made up. That they just fabricate the idea of the self, but in reality, it doesn't really exist. It's just a fabrication of the body and of collective ideas coming together.
Yeah, and Schopenhauer says something similar in the West.
Actually,
If you have a little sibling, you can watch as they grow up how they somewhat start to act like you.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and especially again, it's not simply physical features like your father's nose or your mother's eyes. It's also
behavior too.
it's behavior, and it's also
Yeah, it's much
expression.
Yeah, but the question
So-
is, can that be considered individual? Because it seems
Or
like
how
it's more
they
like
view
not really
things.
individual. It's like
That's the question.
No, it's not individual
Well, why isn't it?
because
why?
you're getting it from someone.
I agree with you that it is.
Well, what are you not
individual.
getting from someone?
You can't be an individual. You're always going to be influenced by someone.
I would agree with that because I personally don't think that I'm capable of free thought. So
Well, Mario agrees. He was talking about how sexist philosophy is. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
nice.
No, it's well. So why? Let's push this thing, because I wonder, is individuality something that because it's such a new concept we're kind of infatuated with, but perhaps there's not as much to it as we want to believe? Is that what you guys
How
are
about we
suggesting?
say?
Yeah, because the question is individuality something original or is something not original individuality as well? That's another
What
question we
does
can
that
add to it.
I just don't understand why we can't call something original if it clearly has had influences and it has been impressed upon by other forces, but yet that unique collection of factors and then our freedom to do with them what we will, why is that not considered individuality?
Professor, I have something to say.
Anyways, I was no,
talking
please.
about original.
Yeah.
This is gonna keep happening. Talking about original. When you're born, and then your parents are original behavior. They are the one that when you were born, they have their basic behavior that's individual to them, like an Arab behavior, for example, right? I like to affirm myself a lot.
That's dead air.
Hey, come on.
That's dead air.
What
No, I
happened?
took that on purpose because I was looking at his face like.
What happened?
No. So there is basics to what my parents want me to, on purposely learn. There's behaviors that they want me to learn, right? When I was born. So I guess that you could say that's an individual, but for me it's a collective, right? And then from there I could use the base or whatever it all started, the nucleus of it, and then grow my own behavior.
Yeah, something like that.
And that's what we all do, but. I guess you cannot say I'm an individual collective if I'm not an
You came from someone else's intention.
if I did not though
Or unintentions.
or unintentions, having bad parents who teach you.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. I think that's worth considering. I mean, I would only add to that. Again, moving forward, that and this is the point Foucault was making, and that I was presenting in my lecture on Thursday. That those what you do with those factors, those influences, how to what extent they influence you, is a question. But more so than that, there are only a certain number of ways you can be influenced, given where and when and by whom you are raised.
Yeah.
And so, to that extent, it seems like your individuality is already kind of constrained to some extent, for better or for worse.
Yeah, and I want to ask a question which
Yeah.
really interests me right now.
Okay.
How can you tell the difference between the self and individual? Like, what is the difference between a self and an individual? Because I feel like even if we change the title, like, let's talk about the self, it seems like it will be the same conversation, but or is there a difference in this case? I wanted to ask that question as well.
I think we're using them interchangeably in this conversation. Yeah, but is there in general a difference between the two?
Yeah, that'll be my question to everybody. Is
I
the
wouldn't
self
think so.
and individual different, or they're basically kind of the same thing?
I wouldn't think so.
Look,
I think they're the same.
there's something uniquely special about all of us because
Oh.
out of all those millions of sperm, you guys were the ones. We all
I came
were.
from an egg.
We made it.
Nice.
You know,
Which it was
like,
hatched.
A black egg.
out of that little
That's
piece
racist,
of
dude.
chance, you know.
Triggered.
Chance plays a big part into who you become.
I photosynthesize.
Raoul
Nice.
crawled up
Right.
from the under earth.
we're all snowflakes.
You can think about it like individual or
Snowflakes?
personality developing. Like imagine just like a ball of something, and it's soft when it's first formed, and whoever's holding this ball puts their fingerprints in it, and it's easy at this point. But as it goes on and as time develops, the ball hardens and hardens. It's harder for people to put their fingerprints in it, and at some point,
This is Aristotle.
at some point, the ball hardens completely, and it's completely or almost impossible to put new fingerprints in it, and it is that way until something happens and just changes it completely. And you can look at that as,
Uchi was rolling meatballs last night.
you can look at that as a person's personality. When you're a baby, you're very impressionable. When you're a child, you're very impressionable. Your parents, their values seep into you easy as possible.
Yeah.
You grow and you grow. It just becomes habit for you, what your parents taught you.
Yeah, but isn't that interesting though, Uche? That because I think that is how the West traditionally understands it, and not irrationally so. But it's funny because the more impressionable you are, the less likely you are to take charge of those impressions. And then, and the older you become, and the more you realize,
Just follow it as habit.
well, exactly. And but the older you become, the more you realize, oh, I have the freedom to make myself whatever I want to become. You've already sedimented. You've already hardened into some sort of default character, and now you kind of have to work with that for the rest of your life.
And you can kind of compare it to the reactionary and radical.
Totally.
Where even if it's changing, it's still stemming from something. It's still stemming from the original. Like if everyone likes the color red, and then someone says, I hate the color red, I like the color blue. You're still stemming from the people that came from the color red.
Uche, your analogies, man.
So then I wanted to ask another question.
Very
because
simple. Crayola sponsor.
Our individual and
Shout out Crayola.
Our individual and self the same thing. Like let me
Yes.
let me say that. Let me say this
He
argument.
just spent 5 minutes answering that question.
No, because let me say this argument. Let's agree that it's self
Get a
individual,
dictionary.
but it's individual self. It's like the argument, like let's say self is individual,
Yeah.
but it's
No, I see what
individual
you're saying.
self, or it's a individual self, but self is not individual,
I agree.
or is it the other way around? Self is individual,
I think it's the
but individual is not self. Oh no,
no. I think it's the first way. I think that your sense of self,
It's perspective.
yeah, it's to greater or lesser extent individualized by you. So.
Yeah.
So I think the self is what we're calling how an individual sees himself or herself.
Yeah, because I'm trying to ask, does self contain
Perhaps.
individual, or does individual contain self? That's the question I'm also trying to ask.
Yeah.
Or individual self just the same circle, like they don't contain each other because they're just exactly the same
I think
thing.
the
they're just
individual
different terms.
contains self.
Well, I have a question too. Is the individual and the self the same thing?
Yeah, because they're the same thing. That means that
We
they're
should
just
probably
the same
move on
circle.
to
What do you think,
different
Mario? What do you think on the
Well,
topic?
I would say that probably the self contains the individual. In this case, I would argue.
Nice.
Self-contained.
I would say
That's
that the self is just a bigger thing, when the individual is just part of the self.
I would agree with that. I think that's true.
Well, can we
Um,
talk about how we can find ourselves and how we can be an individual or collective?
Simple
Yeah.
You don't
because
have to look
Simple,
far.
he
Hassan.
said.
simple because
Look
self
far.
is the bigger thing, but self contains individual and collective together.
I'm just wondering, is there a difference between the individual and the self? Can we finally
Is
address
there a
this question?
difference between up and down?
Yeah, I would say that the
Yeah.
difference is that the self is the
In
bigger
space,
scale.
no.
What
How do you do the
individual is just part
fatality
of
in
it.
Mortal Kombat?
The individual doesn't represent the whole thing of the self.
have to
That would
be
be
really
the
good.
difference. I would
What's
argue.
Barack Obama's last name?
Have you considered the relationship between the self and the individual?
This room's talking about something else. And the other room's talking about something else.
All right, okay, we're going in
Two
circles.
broadcasts now.
Okay, so
Take that, Kelly.
So that's basically the way I would spread it around that the self contains the individual and the collective. And
is there an echo in here? No, we got it. I think we got it. Let's move on. Let's move on.
My boy is persistent.
Okay, so let
It'll
me.
be next year. He's gonna come out and ask the same question.
UNT gonna love you, man. You're gonna do great.
People are gonna think there's something wrong with the YouTube clip that just keeps playing back over and over again.
I can't
Exactly.
wait for the dislikes and likes on this one.
Jax is gonna be confused. Fletcher, producer, shout out. Okay, guys.
Shout out. Jack.
So let's move on to another aspect of the conversation. From have we concluded the requack? I would
Sure.
say we
Like
have,
Probably
an hour
just
ago.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah. So the other
It's
the other side of it is this. We talked about this notion of understanding oneself as a narrative. If you guys remember that, I brought in this thinker Paul Ricoeur, of whom I'm rather fond. He talks about there's two sides to what a self is. There's the stop doing that. I feel like my eardrum's popping. There's
That's loud.
and he borrows these Latin terms, idem and ipse. So idem is the part of the self that is unchanging. It's impermeable. It's immutable. Stuff things that are about you that you have no way of changing. So, for example, when you were born, or for example, the species that you are, you can't really change those things about you. They stay the same. But then there's the ipse, which is more accurately referred to as selfhood, and that's a part of you that changes over time. Like again, physically you grow and change over time as you mature as an organism, but also your personality might change, or your sense of humor might change, and your goals might change, and where you live and
Yeah,
how
I
you
wanted to
value
ask one
things.
more question. Does the
Mario, could you please? Jesus.
I wanted to ask, does the individual have
You
gender?
can't stop the philosopher.
Wait, what'd you say?
Does the individual, like the idea of the individual have a gender, or individual can choose their gender? That's another question I want to ask.
You got to go back to season 1, episode 6. I want to say. Anyways, no, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about
Yes,
that.
but you have to pay
that.
the DLC.
Because Hassan asked that question during my lecture. I want to say because that came up in this context. So that is worth questioning. But I want to finish just presenting this to you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
He allows you.
Yeah, thank you for your permission. And so I guess for Record, this idea of the self is it's both of these things together. There are parts of you that are immutable, but there are parts of you that necessarily change over time. The narrative component is tied into the temporal component, this over time thing. So again, you look at a picture of yourself when you were 5 months old, and you say, "That's me." Or you think of who you were and the interests you had as a 7-year-old and the people that you liked and people with whom you hung out and the television shows you watched versus, 15, 16 years later, all of that might have changed. But you still say, no, that was me. Even though I look different, I hang out with different people, I live in a different place, I dress differently, I have different tastes and interests.
You develop and change.
Yeah, but there's something about the human mind that understands and unifies all of these things. So it's not as though we live and die 100 deaths every 100 days. This is one single person, one single individual identity, one single life, just changing and being stretched out over the course of a lifespan. And so I think individuality has to take into account all of those things combined. I mean, to use Mario's example, if you were born anatomically with female organs and then you become anatomically male and you identify yourself now as male, previously female, and you change your name. Wow, she really hates you, Raul. And you change your name and things like that. So your name changes, your gender changes, everything about you changes, but it's still you. It's still one single life. It's just that the individual is changing over time.
Yeah, you can't hide from your past, even if you try.
Yeah, something like that.
There was a time when Caitlyn Jenner was
Bruce,
man,
the most celebrated athlete
yeah,
in America.
A big athlete, and yeah, like you said, one life.
Yeah,
one love.
Because I will argue that for me, I would say that individuals actually don't have genders. We just identify the way we identify what the gender that basically. It depends because some of us fall in love with our gender, or we fall in love, and some of us we don't really care about gender. Like,
what's your gender, Mario?
Because for example, my gender is male, so for me, I don't care I'm a male. I'm like, I'm just a male because that's the way it was decided. So that means that if I was born
decided that?
So that means that if I was born as a woman, then I'm like, oh, I'm just a woman. I just born like that. But in either way, that means that I'm in love with my own gender. And when you fall in love with gender, probably it doesn't matter what body you will be on. That's the gender you will want to be at because you fell in love with that gender.
How can you fall in love with your gender? What does that look like?
Oh, simple. Because what if you were born as a male, but you fall in love of being a woman? Then you're gonna do everything you can to beat the gender.
To beat the woman?
To beat the woman.
Oh, okay.
Beat the woman out of her.
Beat the woman.
What purpose does gender have outside of reproduction?
That's a good question.
I would say that none. I would say that none.
He said wage cuts.
Okay, so why do you say none?
That's from Rio.
Oh, because gender is just for the purpose of reproduction.
I thought he was going to say simple. Okay.
Because gender is just for the purpose of reproduction. That's the only purpose we have genders.
Okay.
But for everything else, it doesn't really matter. It's just that some of us fall in love with gender. Hey, I'm a guy, and I was born a woman. I will be a guy because that's the gender I was, and I want to be.
Yeah, okay. So I think the point is with regards to the individuality and the freedom that comes with this kind of weird existential freedom, we might call it, is that you have everything, almost everything seems to be a choice you can make. Even that which you inherit and have been influenced by. But that seems to run at odds with what Uche was saying earlier about the ball and the hardness and whatever you're saying. the idea of... you are to a very large extent already determined before you can take it upon yourself to redetermine yourself.
Yeah, because here's the argument. If we're determined about everything, then we also can determine to fix someone's head because we can do brain surgery.
Fix someone's head?
Because what if we do brain surgery? Will brain surgery affect the individual? Or brain surgery would not affect the individual? That would be my next question to Uche.
Oh.
It probably would. I mean, there are certain
that is a good question.
pieces of your brain. I say that the entire brain, when you have your entire brain, that is when you're your individual. If you take away a piece of the brain, you're going to take away pieces of whatever the brain does for the personality. It'll take it away. It could change the person completely, but if it's not like the person, they're not at their full capacity when a piece of their brain was taken away. So you can't really call that. So they're like injured at that point.
They're not as hard.
What
No, but the
about-
question is, who gets to decide to change an individual? Do individuals get to decide themselves to change the individuality, or someone else gets to decide to change your individuality?
The
That's another
person.
question. I wanted to
What
ask.
about
And why does it have to be one or the other?
Oh, because what if your parents don't like your individuality and they want to change it, and they have that technology like, oh,
Hey,
we're just gonna
story
take
of
our
my
child to a
life.
brain surgery and change.
All right, guys. All right, guys. We got to wrap
how
up.
did you deal with that?
All right, so guys.
Interviewing a friend here.
Okay, so
Conflict with
you're listening to
self
KDOX
and
Web Radio,
individuality.
broadcast live from Richland College in Dallas, Texas. We're the voice of Richland College.
Finale.
Views expressed on this show are our own unless otherwise stated and do not reflect the opinion of KDOX Web Radio, Richland
And
College, or
there's a
the,
girl here.
the
so we're not
DCCCD.
sexist.
Yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a supporter of the Philosophy Program, the Philosophy Club Radio Hour. This concludes season 2 and the first academic year. I bid farewell to Hassan and Mario, and of
Hassan,
course our
Mario,
president
Ashley.
Ashley.
And probably
Love
we're gonna
you.
miss you
probably
guys.
me
And
too.
bro, you leaving too?
Ryo, dude.
Maybe yes.
Okay, well,
Professor, what are you
provisional
doing here? You should
goodbye.
go too. Get away.
Okay, guys, thanks again. This has been great, and I wish everybody
Shout
a
out
beautiful
Mario.
summer.
Shout out Ashley.
And,
shout out
uh,
Lindsay. Shout out Hassan.
Shout
Yeah,
out me.
shout out
Shout
shout
out
out
Jess.
shout out the
Shout out
officers,
to
Jess,
everyone.
Lindsay, and
Shout out Ryo.
think about it.
We